morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is from Bangkok University International College. Today I'd like to present you the design and presentation development of the virtual Thai palaces, the Grand Palace and the Emperor Buddha Temple. When we're talking about the Grand Palace, right, it's one of the most well-known and the most visited for tourists when they come to Thailand. And this project was commissioned by Bureau of the Royal Household and also as partial of for the study research in order to improve the user certification of interactive multimedia virtual reality presentation and on the historical site, museum, and culture content. And the study like to present the development of the digitalized virtual reality technology for the significant historical sites, and to study and develop practical models for history sites, museum, and on culture content that also for the work as a model concept for by using our palace or our tourism attraction spot for the as a sampling models. And lastly, for the investigation of creative approach to add more value to Thai art and culture to emphasize those creative to emphasize those ideas. And integrate in terms of the idea of creative economic concept and as far as the technology concerned. So when we start this project in 1996, it's very new. Google is not exist yet, and in that time, right, there are about 100,000 of websites worldwide, which is compared to 160 million websites in 2008, that's the data in that time. So when we start to produce using the website in 1996, it's totally brand new, and thanks to the Bureau of Royal Household that lets us investigate in that presentation or in that thing. And okay, and lastly for the web browser of choice in that time, right? When we're talking about web browser, it's very new concept in 1996, because when we're talking about internet communication in that time, we're talking about text-based internet. So it's not a visual-based communication like what you see on the web browser. So in that time, Netscape is the first one. It's called Netscape Navigator, to introduce as a web browser that allows general user to understand and utilize internet. And some of the perception and expectation. Since the technology is quite new, and in order to connect with the internet, you need infrastructure. And the standard of infrastructure that we have is telephone line, standard telephone line with analog modem. And on the analog modem, the speed is about 28.28 to 33.6 kilobit, versus to our current version is about 20 megabit on the 3G network, right? Which is totally way different on that. And the screen, for the people who view or perceive the content is based on the 14-inch screen. It's about size of 640 by 480 pixel, or 15-inch CRT screen is about 600 by 800 by 600 screen resolution. So when we first start to integrate or start presenting the website, which is the content of our palettes, mostly is can be defined into three different kind of content. First is the location. The location of the Grand Palace is historical sites. all the architecture environments. Second is the art, the Thai architecture and Thai art, which is consists of 3D and 2D environment, which is such as the mural painting, which is one of the biggest mural painting in the world that you can see around the palace itself. And third one is the object, which is like a sculpture or a Buddha image. So we investigate in a few available technology at that time on the limitation of the technology, and we decided to use utilize the technology is called quick-time virtual reality, which is the idea of using image surrounding you, to surrounding your environment, which is allow user to interact with the content itself, and with the benefit of the most of the benefit of the quick-time virtual reality that different than other virtual reality technology is you can use the mouse and keyboard as a standard interface in order to connect to the content without using Google goggles or more expensive equipment. So with this thing, that's why we decided to present this to Bureau of your household in order to proceed more on that one. And we take about a year to make the models of the virtual palace. And then this is the first web page and the models that we using in 1996, which is consists of very optimized images, which is have to be downloaded very fast on the low speed internet connection. And in the initial, we use some animation by using GIF animation, which is also very primitive kind of animation that can integrate into the web. And the only thing that we introduced that's different than other website in that time is quick-time virtual reality. And then later on, we start to integrate Flash animation into that. So this is the second version of it. It's 1998. So you can see we can use some visual element in order to present the web instead of the text-based and image only. So there are some of the visual interface that allow users to interact to the content visually. And that is the size of the virtual reality content in that time. It's about a quarter of 14-inch screen, 320 by 240 pixels. So it's a very tiny size in 1998. And then later we decided to use, since the gain of the popularity of Flash technology is vector-based drawing application that allow us to create nice and clean graphic. And then we integrate that as an illustration into that. That allow us to take advantage of vector graphic to transfer the graphic in very high resolution on the low bandwidth. And then in 1999, we have improved visual perception of the user by trying to enlarge the image to have user perception more since the internet speed increasing. So that allows us to use bigger image and more effective or more attractive animation integrated into the website. And this is the 2003 version. You can see more detail of the image and text. So right now we have two versions, Thai and English. And then the 2004 version that Flash is one of the most dominant technology on the web. So we utilizing Flash. That website should be able to recognize day or night when user log in. So in this time, right, if you see the background on the sky, if you log in during the daytime, the website will recognize and present the day picture to you. And then if you log in at the night time, the website will recognize the time zone and presenting the night images to you. And then in 1996, we have more palaces from the rural household. Currently, we have total 6 palaces. The first one is the Grand Palace and the Emperor Buddha Temple, which is across the street from here. And then we have Himane and Dusit Palace as the second one. The third one, we have bumped in the Summer Palace in India. And the fourth one, Bukit Palace in Chiang Mai. And the fifth one is the Sanam Chat Palace in Nakorn, which is next to Silapakorn University. And the most recent palaces that we, the Bureau of Rural Household, have to supervise is Bangpanan Palace in Nakhon Sithammarat province. And then the content of the palace is getting more and more into that. We have the service integrate the image bank to download. So the user can download the image into your computer. Since we have a lot of activity, royal activity, and some of the electronic book. So we integrate and distribute that via the websites. And this is the 2009 version, which is one of the most recent version that we have. So it can be with the new internet speed, with higher internet speed, digital modem. So they allow us to expand higher resolution and more interactive to the user. So with this version of the website, we also attach the statistic robot into the website, which allows to correcting the data from between 2008 to the most recent one. And this is some of the positive results after we introducing the virtual tour version of the website. You can see on the 2009, right, that when we just starting and install the robot, you will see in the January of 2010, the hit rate of the virtual tour is increased exponentially, from like 16,000 hit to almost million hit within very short period of time. But you can see the trend is dropping down. One of the internet content, right? As we know, the culture or art or historical content is not one of the favorite type or one of the favorite audience around the world. The most favorite is more like the content of sharing the image or social network or gaming, those kind of things. But with this content is very interestingly, when we first introduced it, have a very strong hit on that. And part of the research, we learned that is from the forward mail, which is one of the 90% of the hit is linked from the email, which is being forward to the next person among the friends in that period. And then when we approach to the 2011, 2012, so the increasing the popularity of the social media become more and more popular. So the trend has been changed. So on the negative result that we have is the speed of the modem have very significant impact to the content of the website. And second, special function such as the virtual reality or Flash or something that unusual for the web, it should not be integrated into the web itself. So we should try to utilize whatever is popular or whatever is available widely. So that's why one of the reasons we changed from QuickTime into Adobe Flash, and which is more popular. Third, the cost of the computer and internet connection relatively high in that time, but even right now, even it's much lower than 10 years ago, but still relatively high considered to our neighborhood and other developed countries. Fourth, some of the creative design issues need compromise with the technology limitation. The application of the research model. So in the future, we could utilize these models to autopilots and museum or similar, whatever organization that have similar content. Utilize model content as a tool to enhance learning experience of culture, history, and identity of Thai people. So to promote a new generation to interested in those content that they do not interested, that we feel is helpful. Utilize model presentation as a tool to promote tourism, which is one of the major income is from tourism. Utilize culture and historical content as an idea to develop economic productivity, which is, I think this is one of the things that we can learn from Korean or from Japan or from different, like United States, that they can sell the idea and make economic value out of the idea in serious form. Okay, suggestion, solution, that's what we have. Basically, the disadvantage that we learn from the user when they get into our site, we can learn certain aspects or certain interests from the way they visit and the content they visit, the time they visit, location they visit. And at the conclusion, this research is designed to present the development of Thai virtual palettes, which is we can gain two aspects. One is the content that has been used to promote the organization and the Thai art and tourism attraction, and also another use that we learn to develop and improve the tools and the contents on the contemporary media such as internet. And in the future use, we would plan to implement this content into the mobile media, which is more trendy. Yes. Right. So if anyone have any question about this, all right. Okay. So if you guys interested in, you could visit the website. That is the website on that, and it will allow you to virtually view just like you stand in the palace. All right. Okay. If you do not have any question, thank you very much.